Hello everybody, welcome to week 5, the final week of my December daily. I am about to share my pages with you, and then it will be followed by some process video and some pictures of the pages at the end. So I hope you enjoy. Another insert here, this is one of my favorite papers from her kit, so cute, and journaled on the back of that for day 28. And here I am with some of my family in Manitoba, and I added a shaker card, or shaker pockets, here and here, and just again, same as I did previously, used the Tim Holtz film strip die, and then this again is the Maya Road typewriter transparencies. And then back on to day 29, we went to see the Star Wars movie, so this ticket that said cinema worked out really well, and that's also why I included these film strips on this back of the page. And we also went out to a buffet, which was really fun, so I included some journaling there about this day, just a little bit. I also kept my fortune from my fortune cookie and included that, and my ticket from the movie. I like including ephemera when I can. Here is another tag that I just journaled on and added again another key charm with this clip. And then there's another photo on the back. I just used the washi to make it look like that, so it's holding it on. On the 30th, I had this big space, so I wanted to do a fun filler type card, and I've been saving this bottle chipboard from my stash kit, and this fit perfectly for this day. And this is the day we were leaving Manitoba, so we always take a group picture with my grandpa when we go. So that's what that is. And here is, this is New Year's Eve. As you can see, my husband and I and some friends went out to a place called National in Calgary here, and they had a Tool Shed beer dinner. Tool Shed is a microbrew that's it's local, so they, I don't know if they sponsored the event, but with every meal, or every course of the meal, we got a different Tool Shed beer. So I took a picture of the menu, and then I typed it out and printed it on just some cardstock here, which you'll see in my process, which I will include at the end of this video. So it was really nice to just remember what we had. So this includes each course, what it was, and the beer that went with it. This was just such a fun event. Trying out new foods is one of my favorite things to do, and I journaled more about it on this card on both sides. And here are more pictures from this event. So again, a couple shaker pockets. I used some of the punched stars just with craft cardstock to go with some other craft elements, and these photos had sort of a warm feel, so that's what I was going for. Also, because it was New Year's Eve, I included this clock, which is a Tim Holtz metal piece, and some of the spinners, because I think that went with the theme. And that's about it for that page. This is one of the Tim Holtz little pieces as well. On the back of this page, so I usually stop at the 31st, but we went off-roading on the 1st of January, and I really wanted to include those pictures because they were really pretty. So on this page, you can see this is still the 2x2 pockets, but I included this photo just on top, so I had to make sure on this side that I included 4 solid ones right here instead of a transparent one, if you know what I'm saying. And the back of this paper that I used to mat it with, I just colored in using a marker so that it would be black, so it wouldn't attract attention. And you'll see that in the process as well. So I just journaled right on top of the photo here. I like how that looks. And on the back of the clock face to cover up the back of the brad that I used to keep those spinners in, I just added one of these badges and just a couple of the Jasmine Jones enamel stars here, and I used the same printable from the first day, so December 1st that is. I just reused this piece from that printable. And then the very last page, I just sort of wanted to conclude the album, so I wrote a little bit about how much I love the project and just that I'm looking forward to 2016. So that concludes my album. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you enjoy the process that I'm about to share, and the pictures will be at the end to follow. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great week. Hi everybody, I'm just showing you here how I printed my menu for that New Year's Eve event we went to. So what I did is I typed it up on the computer in the font and formatted it how I wanted it to fit on a 4x6 and printed it on this 8.5 by 11 sheet as a rough copy. And then I put this 4x6 cardstock right on top of it using this washi tape and just ran it through my printer once again, and I knew exactly where it would print that way. So it's a nice little trick if you are trying to print something like a document in an unusual format. That's just the easiest way I know of to do it. So I'm adhering that just using the glue stick to the back of this 4x6 printout of it's the ad, I guess, for the event that we went to. And I've showed you this before, but this is how I use the cinch to figure out where exactly I want my holes. So I have my template made already, and then I just line up my piece exactly how I want it on top of the template, so I know where the holes are going to punch, and just punch it like so. It's really simple, and that's just the easiest way that I have found to do it, rather than guessing or eyeballing, I guess, where you want the holes. Now I'm just inking the edges of this piece really quick with my favorite vintage photo distress ink. And now I'm going to work on the page that goes across from this little insert. So I'm just flipping through the 4x6 papers that I have left. I've actually used quite a lot of the papers. I started out with a ton and I never thought I'd use them all, which I haven't used them all, but because my album turned out to be so huge, I did really take a good chunk out of them, and I'm sure I can reuse some of them for next year for my December daily or for pocket scrapbooking of any kind, really. So I just checked out a couple different papers here, and I'm matting my photo with some white cardstock, and then I'm using this Creative Memories star punch to punch out some craft paper stars. And I've been trying to keep a couple consistencies throughout my album, and one of them is this star punch. It's nice because it isn't something that's used up, so I can continuously use it throughout the album. Just for consistency, I like doing that. So I spelled out the letters NYE for New Year's Eve, and I'm just using that sort of as a little title on this card, and I'm adhering that. I ran out of my favorite Teresa Collins adhesive that I've been using lately, so I'm now using this super thin Sook Wang adhesive, and it works really great too. It's just more work to pull off the backing, but I need to make a trip to the craft store, obviously, to get more adhesive, and it's a good excuse to see what's on sale from Christmas and if they have anything new, I guess. So hopefully I can do that soon. um, I'm just making sure that the cards are the same size, and I usually trim around the edges. And I find that these 4x6 pocket pages, the top pocket, the cards like to fall out sort of, or slide out, so I just added a paper clip, a swirly one at the top of that. And now I'm gluing this piece of doily that I had left over from the previous page just on top of the plastic, and I used a glue stick, but this didn't end up holding, so I went back and used my Sook Wang adhesive, which is a better idea. And I used my white gel pen on that little banner sticker, but I didn't like how the handwriting looked on this. I decided to remove that just using a baby wipe, or a face wipe actually, and add those tiny Tim Holtz stickers instead, and I like how this looks better. I usually don't have a problem with my handwriting. I really like that handmade look on it, but I guess just because I used the letter stickers on this page, I wanted it to sort of go together. So I'm just inserting those in my album, and then I'm going to start on the next pocket page. So this is the 2x2 format one, and I play around for quite a while figuring out how I want my pictures, and I really try to balance the color in the photos as well as leave open spaces between them. So you can see the darker photos are spread out and the lighter photos I tried to spread out, or at least I guess they're all diagonal, but I didn't want any beside each other for this layout. So now I'm going through all of my Tim Holtz, what are these called? Let me grab them. I said it before because I've continuously used them. They're the Tim Holtz flash cards, and they're the holiday Christmas time theme. And I really like these. So I picked out the word cheer, which I think is appropriate for New Year's Eve. And now I'm just looking for some kind of clock item to use because I think it goes with the theme of New Year's and counting down the time, I guess. So I pulled out those stamps, but then I decided to go with the Tim Holtz clock face that's metal and added some of the Tim Holtz spinners as well. I think this adds a nice texture to the page, and I was trying to include metal throughout the album. I didn't do a very good job of it. I sort of started incorporating it more near the end with charms on tags and such, but I don't really mind, so this is another way of incorporating that metal. Now I'm using this same punch with the craft paper to coordinate with the other page nicely, and I'm using these stars I'm going to be making shaker pockets with those and adding sequins later, so you'll see that. And I just inked vintage photo again around that cheer flash card. So I skipped ahead a little bit because I struggled with the layout of this a bit, and you can see I rearranged some of the photos and a few things are in different spots, but I like how this worked out better. And now I'm putting everything into the pockets and adding some adhesive to the cheer card. Putting things in the pocket is probably my favorite thing because it just kind of makes it feel more complete, and then I can flip it over without things flying everywhere. So I included 4 cards in a square on the one side, and I did this intentionally because I knew I had a square photo that I could put on the back right here. So what I'm doing is just trimming a mat for this photo, and I'm checking out the color, how it shows through on this side, and I wasn't quite a fan of that sort of funny light brownish color. It didn't go with everything. I guess it sort of pulls in the craft color, but I wanted it to sort of recede into the background and not be very noticeable. So I'm using this black brush pen, and I'm just coloring all the edges that are likely to show, so that you'll see later none of the funny color shows through. And I just roughly did that quite quick. And with it being black, it actually recedes, I find. It doesn't tend to stand out in this instance anyways, so I'm adhering that. I didn't want the white photo showing either, and then as you saw before I put on the mat, the other pieces would have shown around the edges of my photo, which I didn't want either. So now I'm just playing with the arrangement of the other paper pieces, and I'm making sure everything is covered. I'm keeping my transparent squares open. I have those in mind for the shaker pockets. So I'm just adhering that badge to the back of the clock face, and that's just to cover up the brad that I used for the spinners. And finally I'm using this holly berry transparency piece from the Jasmine Jones kit. I really like it and I've been trying to use it, but it just didn't fit in anywhere. But I made it kind of fit with this page. This page isn't my favorite. I think it's not quite as interesting, I guess, as some of the other pages, but I do like that I included a photo in a different way on this layout. So I cut up that totally adorable word die cut piece, and I'm just adding a staple to each edge of it, and I like how that looks. It's sort of like the staple is at the beginning and the end, I guess, of the phrase. And now I'm just adding some adhesive so that my pieces don't flop around. In these smaller pockets, I like to do that because the edges showing on the back sides of things kind of bothers me, so I like to trim those off, and I just adhere them together to make sure that everything stays where it's supposed to. So I've pretty much got this page laid out, and I'm gonna stamp the date here now on that registered die cut, and it covers the back of that cheer card perfectly, so that worked out well. And I'm just gonna add my journaling on these two squares. I cut some of that out, and I forgot to leave spaces for the overlap of this registered die cut, so I had to make it stick out a little bit on the other side, which I'm fine with. The back side of the paper doesn't look bad with the other side. You can see it there. I don't know if that made any sense, if you know what I'm talking about, but I'm fine with it anyways. So now I'm just adding my punched pieces and my sequins, and magically I have it sewn already. I didn't record that part because my sewing machine doesn't fit in screen very well. I showed you in a previous video too how I sew those shut, so if you're interested you can check that out. I do have a playlist on YouTube with all of my December daily videos, so I will link that below, and you should definitely check it out, as well as I'll probably individually link each blog post as well if you want to see that. So now I'm just putting the final touches on both sides, and this is how it turned out. I'm quite happy with the front side of this page. I really like it. And now I'm just going to plop it in my album. I didn't have enough journaling for my New Year's Eve event. Actually, I haven't journaled anything for it yet. So I just made this little card quickly. I just used one of the 3x4 cards from the Jasmine Jones kit and punched it using my cinch. And now I'm just doing a little bit of embellishing on the front, and then I'll be journaling on the back of that. So you might be able to tell, but I've used up a ton of my embellishments, which I'm quite happy about. It still probably seems like there's lots in there, but there's really not. So now I'm going to go into the pictures, and I really hope that you enjoyed this project. December Daily is one of my favorite projects of the year, maybe my most favorite actually. So I'll definitely be doing it again next year, and please let me know what you thought, and check out my blog post, which I will link below. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and I hope you have a wonderful new year.